I was moving every like 6 months, I think. I never spent more than a year in a school. So every time I would get comfortable somewhere, we would just have to move again and again and again. And it just
So,
got to
you
that
never
point.
you never stabilized yourself. You never had steady friends or nothing. That's pretty rough.
No,
That's a pretty rough on a kid at that age, right? Trying to build
yeah,
stability.
it was extremely rough. It was yeah, just having that sense of normalcy or as you said, stability. It was just gone, and eventually I mean, it didn't take long, but I just accepted that that's the way it is. This is the way your life is going to be. Nothing's ever going to be stable. You're not going to have anything. You're not going to be anything. You're not going to do anything. Just accept your lot in life, and this is the way things are going. And I really just gave up. It like took the light out of me, just all this kind of darkness and negativity and depression. Really, really
And
stumped me.
let's talk about that quickly because and this is, I mean, mental health is something that's it's still not where it needs to be awareness wise, but back then there was zero talk about it really.
Yeah,
So how did you
right.
deal with that? Did you have anybody you talked to? How did you just hold it all in? How did that affect you after? Like I didn't even think the conversation to go this way, but like how
Yeah.
did
I didn't deal with it very well. I started drinking and doing drugs when I was like 12 years old.
that young?
Yeah, yeah, and it just progressed from there. We moved to Vegas when I was right before my 15th birthday, and then that was just like pouring gasoline on a fire being in that environment. Just surrounded. I mean, Vegas is a really toxic place when it comes to that kind of stuff, and if you're already inclined to that sort of lifestyle, especially being young, it's just the worst place in the world to you could possibly be. So growing up there, it just continually progressed and got worse and worse and worse. I mean, I was already like full blown alcoholic before I even turned 21. I was just
Wow.
drinking every single day, all day, every day. It just became like this normal thing to me. I didn't even really think much about it. It wasn't like I was like relatively functional, but I
Yeah.
would just get hammered every night. And drink during the day, little just have a couple beers here and there. But again, when you're in Vegas, it seems sort of
Then it's
normal.
the norm.
Yeah, and I mean, I was working on the strip. I used to do caricature art, drawing people with funny
Seriously.
faces and stuff. Yeah, so I would just
How
be
did
drawn to it.
how did how the fuck did you get into that? Is that something you always
Well,
had the artistic ability from a young
yeah,
age?
yeah, I've always been
Interesting.
artistic. Yeah, and I actually went to school for computer animation, got my degree in computer animation. But yeah, I was always artistic, and one of my friends was doing that, and I was like, oh, that seems really cool. Then I did that for like 3 years. But while I was doing that, I was on the strip in a place where everyone's drinking. So I
Yeah.
would just, when I'd go on break, I'd just go have a beer or two, and it wasn't like a big deal. It seemed kind of normal. It didn't seem
Yeah.
weird or even like it was that big of a thing. But it continued to progress, and bad things were happening. Friends were dying, going to jail. A lot of bad stuff was going on, and I actually I never thought I was going to live to see the year 2000. I just had this date in my head that I would never see it, and I didn't know really if that was a specific date I was going to die or something. It was just like I don't think I was meant long for this world. I never really thought it for the future, and I wasn't exactly living in a way that promoted longevity.
Yeah.
It was just I kind of just accepted that fact, and I didn't really think about it much. It wasn't like a good or a bad thing. It was just this is the way it is. So just accept it, And I was inches away from what would have been a fatal car accident going into the year 2000, a couple of hours before New Year's. I was almost in this horrific car crash with a semi, and that moment, I realized that was supposed to be the moment that I was supposed to die. To me, I was like, that was it. That was supposed to be the end of your life. Now what? Now what are we gonna do? And it was it was an awakening experience, but at the time it wasn't strong enough to turn my life around. But looking back, it really started my thought process and my outlook down that road a little bit. It opened the door to a degree, and there were several things that happened over the next 3 years because that's how long it took before I started training and turning my life around. But that was a really pivotal moment.